My name is Sienna Hayes, 35 years old, and I never imagined my 10th anniversary dinner would end with my husband telling a room full of people that another woman was better for him. But that's exactly where I found myself, standing in the private dining room of the rooftop restaurant he insisted on booking, my dress sticking to my back from sheer humiliation, while every pair of eyes darted between us. Connor raised his glass like he was giving a toast, the city lights glittering behind him, his jaw tight with whatever self-righteous speech he had practiced in the mirror. I thought he was about to thank me for a decade of marriage. Instead, he cleared his throat and said, "Sienna, I think we both know things haven't been right for a long time." A soft wave of whispers rippled through the room. My heart stumbled. He kept going. Marriage is supposed to bring out the best in people. And, honestly, someone else has always brought out the best in me. I felt my stomach drop, fast, like an elevator plummeting. Someone better suited for me. "Connor," I whispered, throat tightening. "What are you doing?" His eyes flicked toward the entrance, and that's when she walked in. Marina. My former best friend. The woman I trusted with every secret, every fear, every stupid detail of my life. The woman whose wedding I attended, whose baby shower I planned, whose crises I cleaned up for years. She stepped in like she had rehearsed it, hair in loose curls, lips smirking like she was stepping onto a stage instead of bulldozing my marriage. The entire room froze. Even the pianist outside hit a wrong note. My pulse hammered so loudly I could barely hear myself breathe. Connor smiled, actually smiled, and said, "Marina and I understand each other. She gets me." My vision blurred. He wasn't just humiliating me. He was replacing me, right here, in front of everyone. "You've lost your mind," I said, my voice trembling not from fear but from disbelief. "This is our anniversary." Marina stepped beside him like a victorious pageant contestant, touching his arm lightly. "Sienna, we didn't want you to find out like this," she said sweetly, as if she hadn't just walked into my life holding a match and gasoline. I laughed, sharp, broken. "Really? Because it sure looks like you wanted an audience." Connor's expression hardened. "You've always been dramatic. This reaction proves it." I stared at him, stunned. "Dramatic? Connor, you invited our entire circle here. Family, co-workers, clients. You brought me to a rooftop restaurant to dump me for your ex-girlfriend/my best friend. And I'm being dramatic?" A couple near the window gasped. Someone whispered, "Is this real?" Another person pulled out their phone. I could feel heat crawling up my neck, my humiliation rising like smoke. But I wasn't done yet. "What about Marina's husband?" I shot back. "Did you invite him too? Or is he part of the surprise reveal?" Marina's smile faltered. Connor flinched. Good. The door behind them swung open again. And there he was. Jared Cole, her husband. His jaw was tight, eyes cold, a stack of papers in his hand. He didn't hesitate, didn't even blink, before tossing them on the table in front of Connor. The papers scattered, some sliding across the polished wood. "Thought you might want to see what your wife and her old boyfriend have been hiding," Jared said. His voice carried across the room like a gavel slamming. Marina paled instantly. Connor's face drained of color. I grabbed the closest page. It was a printout. Screenshots. Text messages. Messages between Connor and Marina. Months' worth. Some emotional, some flirtatious, some explicit. My hands shook, but it wasn't from heartbreak anymore. It was the sound of something inside me snapping clean in half. The room erupted. Gasps, whispers, the clinking of glasses someone bumped into. Marina reached for the papers, but Jared's voice boomed. "Don't touch it! You sent it!" Connor sputtered. "This isn't what it looks like." I lifted a page and read aloud. "You said you wished you never married me." He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "You said Marina understands you better than I ever did." Marina scrambled forward. "Sienna, he didn't mean—" "Shut up." My voice shocked even me. "You don't get to talk." Her mouth snapped shut. I turned to Connor. You blindsided me tonight to humiliate me, to make it seem like you were choosing her with dignity. But really? You were cheating. And both of you planned this. Connor's eyes darted around the room, searching for someone, anyone, to rescue him. No one moved. Even the waiter froze behind a tray of champagne flutes. My humiliation turned into something colder, sharper, cleaner. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only he and Marina could hear, even though everyone strained to catch every word. You think this is the end of something? No. This is the beginning. Connor's brows pinched. Sienna, I'm done being blindsided. I'm done being humiliated. And I'm done protecting you from the consequences of your own decisions. I slid the stack of printed messages toward him. You wanted an audience? You got one. You wanted to show everyone who you really are? Congratulations. They see it now. He reached for my arm. Please, just... I jerked away. Don't touch me. Marina swallowed hard. Jared crossed his arms, staring at her like she was a stranger. And just like that, something inside me calmed. Not forgiveness, not acceptance. Something colder. Purpose. I lifted my clutch, straightened my posture, and looked Connor dead in the eye. You'll regret every word you said tonight. Sienna, please. No. You started a war in front of witnesses. I'll finish it in front of the world. Gasps, shocked murmurs, phones recording. Perfect. I turned, heels clicking sharply across the floor, and walked out without looking back. The night air hit my face, cool and steady. My marriage was over. But my revenge? It had just begun. The worst part wasn't the humiliation. It was how fast every memory of our life together started rearranging themselves, clicking into place like puzzle pieces I had refused to see. On the drive home from the restaurant, I kept replaying the years that led me to a man who could stand in front of our entire world and replace me with my former best friend, like I was a scratched piece of furniture. Connor wasn't always the man who smirked while I shattered. When we first met, he was ambitious but grounded, a junior project manager at a tech firm, scrambling to prove himself. I was the stable one, already managing regional operations for a retail chain. I liked that he wasn't threatened by my career. Or maybe he just hadn't grown into the insecurity that eventually swallowed him. We built everything together, every promotion, every mortgage payment, every hard decision. My inheritance from my grandmother helped us buy our first house. I put his name on everything because marriage was supposed to be partnership, not performance. When he wanted to start consulting, I covered the bills for 5 months until his client list grew. I told myself that's what love looked like. But love doesn't make you blind. I made myself blind. Looking back, the warning signs were neon. The day Marina re-entered our lives. Just for coffee, just to catch up. Connor acted surprised to see her, but his smile lingered too long. I noticed the way they hugged, too familiar for people who supposedly dated a decade ago and ended things cleanly. Marina joked that she and I had been closer than she and Connor ever were, and I laughed, believing it. Then there were the excuses. She's going through a rough patch, Sienna. I'm just being supportive. It's just work stuff. She needs advice. Don't be insecure. You're better than that. Every sentence was a small cut I brushed off as paranoia. I trusted him. I trusted her. And I trusted myself too little. I remembered the night I found an Uber receipt for a drop-off near Marina's office. He said it was a client meeting. I accepted it. When he came home smelling like a perfume I didn't own, he said it was from a coworker's hug. Still accepted it. When Marina started pulling away from me, last-minute cancellations, vague texts, fake warmth, I told myself relationships change. People grow apart. I didn't want the truth. Truth would have forced decisions I wasn't ready to make. But after the rooftop disaster, I drove to the one person who would tell me the truth without softening it. My younger brother, Caleb. He opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside without a word. I told him everything, every detail, every message I read. every word Connor said. Caleb didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he leaned back, exhaled, and said the sentence that sealed everything shut. Sienna, I've seen them together, more than once, and it wasn't friendship. My throat tightened. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want it to be true, he said softly. But now you know, and you can't unknow it. And he was right. I couldn't. By the time the sun came up, something inside me had hardened into clarity. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't replaying Connor's voice saying Marina was better for him. I was done being the stunned wife standing in the wreckage he created. I was going to become the woman who burned the entire blueprint he built his life on. The first thing I did was open my laptop at Caleb's kitchen table. My hands were calm, steady in a way I hadn't felt in months, as I logged into our joint accounts. I didn't drain them. That would have been reckless. Instead, I froze every card with my name on it and transferred my half to my private savings. Clean, legal, documented. With each confirmation email, I felt my heartbeat settling. This wasn't panic. This was control. Next, I opened the home security app and switched the system to my profile only. Then I changed the passwords to the mortgage account, the utilities, the streaming services, every little digital thread that tied our lives together. Connor always loved control. He built identity around being the man in charge. So I started cutting precisely where it would hurt most, the power he assumed he had over me. When I called my attorney, Helena Cruz, she answered on the second ring. Sienna, do you need help? I'm filing for divorce, I said. My voice didn't wobble once. And I want to do it fast. Helena inhaled sharply, but didn't ask for the story. Come in today. We'll start paperwork immediately. I showered, dressed, pulled my hair back, and caught my reflection in the mirror. I looked older than yesterday. Tired, yes, but sharper. Like someone whose innocence had been peeled off and replaced with steel. On the drive home, I typed a short message to Connor. We'll talk through lawyers. Do not come to the house. No explanation, no emotion. He didn't deserve either. When I walked inside, the air felt different. Colder. Quiet. Like the walls already knew our marriage was collapsing. I grabbed 2 suitcases and started packing only what was mine. Clothes, jewelry from my grandmother, work files, my childhood photo albums. I didn't touch anything he bought. I didn't want a scent or a memory tied to him. While folding a sweater, my phone buzzed. Connor. I let it ring out. Then it buzzed again. And again. Then a voicemail popped up. I didn't listen. I deleted it mid-recording. Around noon, I met Helena at her office. The conference room felt sterile, but the moment she slid the divorce packet toward me, something inside me unclenched. Any chance he'll cooperate? She asked. I laughed bitterly. He lost the right to the word cooperate months ago. We'll serve him this afternoon, she assured me. Given the circumstances, I recommend securing temporary control of the house and a financial restraining order. Do it. When I left the office, sunlight hit me like a spotlight. Not warm, just revealing. I wasn't walking through betrayal anymore. I was walking through strategy. As I stepped onto the sidewalk, my phone buzzed again. Another call. I sighed and glanced at the screen, expecting another ignored attempt. But this time, it wasn't a call. It was a notification. Connor Hale attempted to use a frozen card. 4,112 declined. My lips curled slowly, so he finally noticed. Another notification popped up almost instantly, another declined transaction. Then a text. Sienna, what the hell is going on? Call me now. I didn't answer. Instead, I slid my phone into my bag, lifted my chin, and kept walking. His panic was the first ripple, and I was just getting started. By the next morning, the consequences of my silence were already rippling through Connor's life like cracks spreading through glass. I didn't need to say a word. The systems I'd set in motion were speaking for me. It started at 8:14 a.m. Attempted charge, 1,987, declined. Attempted charge, $612, declined. Attempted ATM withdrawal, declined. Each notification hit my phone like a metronome marking the chaos he was suddenly drowning in. Then came the calls. 6 before noon. I didn't answer a single one. By lunchtime, he shifted tactics. Text messages poured in, angry at first. You had no right to freeze anything. We need to talk like adults. Stop acting childish. If you're trying to punish me, this won't work. Then desperate, please answer. This is serious. I need to fix something. Why are the accounts locked? Sienna, please. Just call me for 5 minutes. Then accusing, if you think you can embarrass me after last night. I didn't read the rest. He wanted control back. He couldn't stand the silence. Good. He could sit with the discomfort he created. But he wasn't the only one feeling the fallout. Around 2 p.m., I got a call from Tessa. Her voice came in sharp and breathless. Sienna, what in God's name happened last night? My phone blew up this morning. Of course it did. Half the room had been recording. Someone posted a clip online. Connor admitting he felt someone else was better for him, Marina's entrance. Jared slamming the evidence on the table. The video had already begun circulating in group chats. I gave Tessa the actual story. Every detail, every lie, every message Jared exposed. She went silent for several seconds. Then, with a tight, furious breath, she said, I hope you bury them both. I plan to, I answered simply. She didn't try to comfort me. She didn't say I deserved better. She knew I already knew that. Instead, she said, tell me what you need. Anything. For the first time in days, I felt something close to support. Meanwhile, Marina's world was crumbling faster than Connor's. Tessa forwarded me screenshots from a mom group page where Marina had once been a darling. Now they were tearing her apart, calling her a homewrecker, a snake, a manipulator. Jared had left a single comment under a vague post she made. Tell the truth for once, Marina. Start there. He didn't have to say more. Her reputation was unraveling thread by thread. By late afternoon, the social circle we used to share had split like fault lines. Half were messaging me privately, apologizing, swearing they had no idea. The other half were interrogating Connor, demanding explanations he couldn't give without incriminating himself further. But the real fracture came when his consulting partner, Eli, called me. Sienna, is it true? He asked, voice tight with discomfort. He told us you two were having issues, but this... He exhaled shakily. This isn't something a client base recovers from easily. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Talk to Connor, I said. He made the decisions. I'm just responding to them. Silence. Then, I understand. When we hung up, I knew exactly what was happening. Connor wasn't just losing money. He was losing status, losing narrative control, losing the version of himself he sold to the world. Around sunset, he finally snapped. My phone lit up with a video call request, his last attempt to corner me into a conversation. I denied it. 10 seconds later, another text came through. I'm coming to the house. We need to talk. Now. My jaw tightened. He thought he could still walk into my space like nothing had changed. He truly didn't understand what I'd already put in motion. I typed 3 words and hit send. Do not come. No emotion. No hesitation. The silence after that message was the first real sign. Connor finally understood he wasn't chasing a wounded wife. He was chasing someone who was already 10 steps ahead. Connor didn't listen. Of course he didn't. 2 days after he threatened to come to the house, he tried again, this time with ambush instead of force. He tracked me to a family brunch at Hazel and Pine, the busiest cafe in our neighborhood, the kind of place where every table is packed with people pretending not to eavesdrop. I was sitting with Caleb and Tessa, halfway through a plate of waffles I couldn't taste, when I felt the room shift, like a collective breath tightened. I looked toward the entrance. There he was. Connor Hale, red-eyed, disheveled, looking like a man who'd been sleeping in guilt and whiskey. He started walking toward me with the kind of desperation that made people step aside instinctively. Conversations dimmed. Forks paused mid-air. Tessa muttered, "Oh, hell no." But he was already too close. "Sienna," he said, voice cracking. "Please, talk to me." I didn't move. I didn't offer him a single expression. I kept my spine straight and my hands folded in my lap. Caleb stood up, blocking him halfway. She said no. Connor ignored him and leaned around him to look at me. "Can you tell your brother to stop acting like your bodyguard? I just want 5 minutes." 5 minutes for what? I asked calmly. A new speech? A new lie? A murmur rippled through the cafe. He looked embarrassed. Good. But he pushed on. "I made a mistake, okay? A huge one. I shouldn't have said what I said that night. I shouldn't have let it get that far." Tessa scoffed loudly. "He calls cheating and public humiliation letting it get that far. Incredible." Connor shot her a glare, then lowered his voice. "Sienna, can we please go outside? Everyone's staring." "Yes," I said, standing. "They are." And I let them. I pushed my chair back and stepped into the open floor where all eyes could see us clearly. I wasn't hiding anymore. I wasn't protecting him from consequences. If he wanted a scene, I'd give him one. "Let's talk here," I said. He froze. "Sienna, please. You decided to break our marriage in public. Let's continue your tradition." A few gasps. A couple of phones lifted discreetly. Connor swallowed hard. "I'm sorry. I swear I didn't mean to hurt you. Marina, she told me things. She said you didn't believe in me. She twisted everything. I was confused." I tilted my head slightly. "So you replaced your wife because your ex fed you insecurity? That's not... Or because you wanted to." I cut in sharply. "Because that part seems important." His breath stuttered. I thought I was falling out of love. "But you weren't," I said. "You were falling out of accountability." The cafe fell silent again. Connor rubbed his face. "I can fix this. We can fix this. Just come home." "There is no home, Connor," I said softly. "You set fire to it while I was still inside." He flinched like I'd slapped him. Then he tried one last angle. "We've been together for 10 years, Sienna. 10 years. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" I took one small step closer, not out of tenderness, but for clarity. "It meant everything to me," I said. "Until the night you chose the woman who cheated on her own husband over the woman who built your entire life with you." A woman near the counter muttered, "Jesus," under her breath. Connor's voice cracked. "I made one mistake." "One?" I repeated, laughing bitterly. "Do you want me to read the messages you sent her? Should we validate your definition of one?" He went pale. He glanced around and only then realized half the room was watching, recording, whispering. His shoulders curled inward. "Sienna, can you please stop?" he pleaded. "You're ruining me right now." I lifted my chin. "No, Connor. You ruined yourself." The mic drop line landed like a bolt. Someone near the window whispered, "Damn." Phones were now openly recording. Connor's face crumpled. "Please, Sienna, I'm begging." But I was done. "You made your choices," I said, turning away. "Now live with the consequences." And without giving him another second, I walked out of the cafe, every step steady, every breath clear. Behind me, someone said loudly enough for half the cafe to hear, "Good for her?" And just like that, the second public humiliation spread. Clips, comments, whispers, turning into something he could never outrun. I thought the cafe scene would finally quiet him down, make him step back, lick his wounds in private like any rational man whose ego had just been publicly dismantled. But Connor wasn't rational anymore. He was cornered. And a cornered man doesn't reflect. He performs. 2 days after the cafe incident, I woke up to 33 missed calls and a tidal wave of notifications. News articles, tagged posts, DMs. The kind of digital storm that makes your stomach drop before you even understand what's happening. Then, I saw it. Connor was on local morning television, sitting under bright studio lights, hair trimmed, suit pressed, expression pained and humble, like a man courageously confessing his deepest regrets to the world. The headline: Husband Speaks Out on Devastating Marriage Breakdown. A Story of Miscommunication. I nearly laughed. He really thought he could PR his way out of this. The clip autoplayed. I made mistakes, he said softly, looking down. Marriage is complicated. People drift. But I want the world to know I never cheated. Everything being spread around online, it's being exaggerated, twisted. He said twisted. He kept going. I still love my wife. I hope she'll forgive me one day. She's acting out of hurt and has been influenced by people around her. There's a lot she's not telling everyone. There it was. The pivot. The implication. He was casting himself as the wounded husband, and me, the betrayed wife, as unstable, vengeful, emotionally manipulated. The comments were mixed, half pitying him, half tearing him apart. But the fact that anyone believed him made my blood run hot. Tessa called instantly. Oh, absolutely not, she snapped. He's trying to flip the narrative. This is PR 101 for guilty men. My phone buzzed again, this time with messages from Helena, my lawyer. Helena, do not respond publicly yet. Let him dig the hole. I wasn't planning to respond publicly, but someone else already had. A new video had gone viral, faster than Connor's interview. It was Jared, Marina's husband, standing in his garage, no theatrics, no dramatic lighting, just raw truth. He held up a folder and looked straight into the camera. I didn't want to do this, he began, but after watching Connor paint himself as a saint, I'm done staying quiet. He opened the folder, emails, screenshots of backups, patterns, dates, timelines, receipts. He laid them out calmly, piece by piece. This wasn't miscommunication, he said. This was a months-long emotional affair that turned physical. I confronted both of them privately. They lied to my face, and now they're lying to yours. Then he dropped the bomb. He uploaded audio recordings, conversations between Connor and Marina he had discovered on a home device sync. Nothing explicit, but enough to confirm intent, enough to confirm deception, enough to prove motive. By afternoon, 3 hashtags were trending. Team Sienna, Ox Expose Connor, Marina Mess memes appeared, reaction videos, duets with Jared's recording. Connor underestimated one thing. People love a story with a villain who exposes himself. Meanwhile, Marina tried to defend herself on her Instagram story. Big mistake. Her tearful, "I'm being harassed" message lasted 6 minutes before she deleted it. But screenshots live forever. Someone stitched it next to her text messages from the rooftop incident. The comment sections tore her to shreds. She disappeared offline within hours. Connor, however, doubled down. He released a second interview, an online podcast appearance, trying to clear the air and insisting I was being coached by lawyers and vindictive friends. He didn't see what was coming. That same night, an anonymous account dropped a compilation video titled, "The Truth About Connor Hale, A Timeline of Lies." It had everything. Clips from the rooftop restaurant, screenshots from the cafe, Jared's receipts, and worst of all, a leaked voice message from Connor to Marina. "I'll make her look like the unstable one. Just let me handle it. She always caves." That line caught fire. It became the quote of the week. By morning, Connor's consulting firm announced he was being temporarily relieved of client-facing duties due to online controversy. Clients pulled out. His business partner unfollowed him. Several acquaintances posted cryptic stories about seeing his true colors years ago. His world was collapsing from the outside in. And for once, I didn't have to lift a finger. The narrative wasn't just escaping his control, it had fully turned against him. By evening, he finally texted me. "We need to fix this before it gets worse. Please, we can talk. I'll do anything." But he didn't understand yet. This wasn't the climax. This was only the exposure. The real destruction was still ahead. Lawyers don't move slow when you give them motive, evidence, and a client who's finally stopped doubting herself. Helena worked like she had been waiting her entire career to take down a man like Connor. The morning after his PR meltdown, she called me with a voice so steady it felt like armor. "We're filing today," she said. "And we're filing hard." The petition was brutal, but fair. Documented emotional betrayal, public humiliation, marital misconduct, financial deception. Every piece of evidence Jared had dropped into the universe was included, organized with timestamps and neatly labeled motives. At noon, a process server hand-delivered the packet to Connor at his consulting office. An hour later, Helena forwarded me the security footage someone anonymously emailed her. Connor receiving the envelope, opening it, and visibly collapsing into a chair with his head in his hands. I didn't smile. Not because I pitied him, but because it wasn't over yet. By afternoon, Helena filed a motion for temporary exclusive occupancy of the house. Within 48 hours, the judge approved it. Connor was legally barred from stepping onto the property, my property now, until the hearing. I thought he'd explode. Instead, he did something worse. He begged, "Connor, please, we don't need to go this far. I made a mistake. I miss you. Can we talk before lawyers ruin everything?" But lawyers weren't ruining anything. They were cleaning up what he destroyed. The financial cutdown. Connor always assumed money made him untouchable. He loved flaunting his consulting income, even though I carried the marriage for years. When the bank recognized the freeze order and income separation filing, they updated our access permissions accordingly. He didn't take it well. 2 more declined transactions hit my phone. Then a third. Then a furious call from his accountant, who left me a voicemail by mistake, thinking I'd be the one to talk sense into him. "I warned you, Connor. You can't hide income during a divorce proceeding. They will find everything. Everything. Including the offshore savings account he forgot to mention last year. Helena found it in 2 days. Judges hate hidden accounts, she said. This will not go in his favor. Meanwhile, his consulting firm, already bruised from the public backlash, quietly removed his profile from their website. Clients demanded to work with someone else. His upcoming leadership workshop was canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. Ticket holders weren't given a refund yet. He lost thousands. But the real blow came when his business partner Eli scheduled a board review. Helena forwarded me the notice. Subject: Misconduct Hearing. Connor Hale. Agenda: Contract violations, reputational damage, fiduciary misconduct. Connor wasn't just losing me. He was losing his livelihood. Marina's collapse. While Connor scrambled publicly, Marina imploded privately. Tessa kept me updated through screenshots of neighborhood group chats and whispers from mutual acquaintances. Marina's marriage to Jared was ice cold. He moved into the guest room. He changed all his passwords. He told mutual friends not to invite them as a couple anymore. At the school their daughter attended, other parents stopped talking to Marina altogether. She attempted an apology post on Facebook, something vague about mental health and falling into old patterns. But Jared commented under it again. Own what you did. Start there. She deleted the post. By the end of the week, she deactivated every social media account she had. But that didn't stop the whispers. In a town like ours, disappearing only makes people talk louder. The family erosion. Connor's family had always been complicated. His mother loved me. His father tolerated me. His brother admired me because I made Connor less chaotic. They had, however, always protected him, always given him the benefit of the doubt. Not this time. His mother called me crying. I had no idea. I'm so ashamed. You didn't deserve any of this. I believed her. But the real surprise came from his father, Ray Hale, the man who never apologized for anything. The man who once told me marriage was about enduring and understanding men make stupid decisions sometimes. He called me himself. I told Connor not to speak publicly, he said tightly. I told him to fix things privately. He didn't listen. He embarrassed the family. He embarrassed himself. "Thank you," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "I'm cutting him off," Ray said abruptly. "Until he gets his life together. No more financial help, no more business contacts, nothing." Ray Hale never cut anyone off, not even his disastrous nephew who once crashed a company car into a fountain. That's when I realized, if Connor lost his father's support, he lost his last lifeline. The final break. The real fallout arrived when Helena and I sat across from Connor and his lawyer during the preliminary hearing. He looked smaller, paler. His suit didn't fit the same. His lawyer kept whispering instructions he wasn't absorbing. When Helena listed his hidden account, his misuse of marital funds, his public humiliation, and the emotional affair, Connor finally broke. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, staring at his hands. "I never meant for it to go this far." I met his eyes. "It always goes this far when the truth finally catches up." The judge granted temporary spousal support, exclusive occupancy for me, and a preliminary injunction on all marital funds until full disclosure was completed. Connor sank back into his chair. Helena closed her folder with a soft click. As we left the courtroom, I realized something. Connor wasn't fighting to win anymore. He was fighting not to drown, and he was losing. I didn't expect to see Connor again before the final hearing. Honestly, I didn't care if I ever saw him at all. Everything that needed to be said had already been carved into legal documents, digital receipts, and the ruins of his public image. But life has a way of delivering closure, whether you ask for it or not. It happened 3 weeks after the preliminary hearing, on a gray afternoon when I was returning home from work. I pulled into the driveway and saw him sitting on the front steps, shoulders hunched, elbows on his knees, looking like a man who had aged 5 years in 20 days. Connor Hale, once polished, once proud, once so sure of himself, looked folded. For a moment, I didn't get out of the car. I just observed him. The unshaven face, the wrinkled shirt, the paper-thin confidence. He looked nothing like the man who once raised a glass at a rooftop restaurant and declared another woman better for him. I opened the car door and stepped out. He stood immediately. "Sienna, please." I didn't move closer. "You're not supposed to be here. I know I'm violating the occupancy order, but I needed to see you. Just once. Please." His voice shook. That was new. I crossed my arms. "Say whatever you came to say." He exhaled shakily, running a hand through his hair. "I messed everything up. I know that. And I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not even asking to fix us." His voice cracked. "I know it's beyond fixing." I remained silent. He needed silence. Connor swallowed, fighting for breath. These past weeks, losing my job, my reputation, my home, my father's support, I deserved most of it, maybe all of it. But I can't take the way you look at me now, like I'm a stranger. "You are," I said simply. He winced, but he kept going. "I want to explain. Not to win you back, just so you know the truth. The real truth." "No," I said. "You want to feel understood, Connor. You want to walk away from this storm believing you're a tragic hero instead of the architect of your own disaster." His eyes watered. "I'm not a hero. I'm barely a man anymore." "That part," I said, "is finally accurate." He looked down at the ground, nodding slowly. "I don't know when I became this person. I kept telling myself Marina and I were just reconnecting, that it wasn't real, that it wasn't hurting anyone. And then I blinked and suddenly everything was burning." "Connor," I said quietly, "it didn't happen suddenly. You just finally noticed the flames when they touched you." His jaw trembled. "If I could undo all of it, the rooftop, the messages, the interview, I swear I would." "You can't." "I know." His voice was barely audible. "I know." The wind cut through the silence. He took another step, cautiously, like approaching a wounded animal. "I'm not asking for us back," he whispered. "I know I destroyed that. I know you don't love me anymore. I need you to know I loved you once. More than anything. And I never meant to hurt you like this. I stared at him, really looked at him. The man who once held my hand during thunderstorms. The man who helped assemble our first dining table at midnight. The man who laughed in the kitchen while dancing barefoot. That man was gone. What stood in front of me was what he chose to become. Connor, I said softly, I did love you. I loved you with trust, with loyalty, with devotion you never earned. I gave you everything, my years, my money, my patience, my forgiveness. And you could have walked away with dignity. You could have told me you were unhappy. We could have separated like adults. He nodded, tears slipping down. I know. But instead, I continued, you stabbed me in public so you could avoid feeling like the bad guy. You humiliated me because it was easier than admitting you'd been betraying me for months. He covered his face. I hate myself for that. You should. The wind carried that truth between us like a sentence. After a long moment, he lowered his hands. What happens now? Now, I said, stepping past him toward the door. Now, I let the final hearing do what it needs to do. He turned, desperate. Is there anything you need from me before then? I paused with my hand on the doorknob. Yes. His face lifted with a fragile hope. What? I looked at him fully, without anger, without tears, without any leftover emotion. Accept that this is who you chose to be, I said. Not who I made you. He blinked hard, chest rising and falling like he'd been punched. Sienna. And stop looking for closure from the woman you blew up, I added. You forfeited that right the moment you handed my dignity to an audience. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. I stepped inside, then paused one final time. This is the last time we will ever speak privately, I said. The next time will be in court, and after that, you'll just be a memory I outgrew. His face crumpled. I closed the door gently, not with rage, not with triumph, but with finality. Inside, my heartbeat was steady, quiet, clean. The woman who walked into that house was not the woman he betrayed. I was someone rebuilt. And the final line he was left with, echoing in the cold air, was the truth that finally broke him. You didn't lose me, Connor. You lost the version of yourself I used to believe in. 6 months after the final hearing, I stood on the balcony of my new apartment, small, sunlit, and entirely mine, and realized something I never thought I would feel again. Peace. Not a fragile version of it, not borrowed or conditional. Real, grounded, earned peace. Life didn't snap back into place after Connor. It didn't magically reward me for surviving him. It rebuilt itself in slow, quiet shifts. One practical decision, one morning routine, one healed thought at a time. I got promoted at work. I didn't expect it. I didn't campaign for it. I simply stopped shrinking myself to make space for a man who needed me small, and suddenly everything I'd been holding together for years showed its value. My boss told me, "You operate like someone who finally understands her worth." And that felt better than any apology Connor could have ever offered. Aubrey adjusted better than I feared. Kids sense truth before adults do. She never asked for details. She just watched me closely for months to see if I broke. And when I didn't, when I started laughing again, cooking again, letting music play in the kitchen again, she relaxed. Sometimes she hugs me out of nowhere and says, "You seem lighter." And she's right. I am. Tessa stayed by my side through everything, the kind of friend who doesn't give speeches about strength but simply shows up with groceries, or wine, or garbage bags on days when everything needed to be reorganized. We joked that she deserved joint custody of my sanity. She still checks in every morning with the same question, choosing peace today or revenge? And I always answer, peace. But revenge was fun while it lasted. Even Caleb healed in his own way. He apologized more than necessary for not telling me sooner, but I forgave him quickly. He wasn't protecting Connor. He was protecting the last piece of my belief in the marriage. Now he laughs more. eats dinner with me on Sundays, and says I'm the strongest person he knows. I don't know if I am. I just know I stopped letting weakness masquerade as love. As for Connor, word drifted through town like passing weather. His consulting license expired. He didn't have the funds to renew it. His father cut him off completely, and his brother blocked him after Connor blamed the entire fallout on family pressure. Last I heard, he was living in a small rental outside the city, working part-time for a former client who feels sorry for him. Sometimes I think about the man I married, the boyish smile, the ambition, the hope we shared. Not out of longing, but out of disbelief at how people can choose to lose themselves. I don't hate him anymore. I don't even resent him. He's simply irrelevant now. One evening recently, I walked past a couple arguing on the sidewalk. The woman's voice trembled. The man looked away, uninterested. I paused, not to judge, but to remember the version of myself who once would have tolerated that. And I felt a wave of gratitude, because I'm not her anymore. I didn't just survive betrayal. I outgrew the life that made it possible. Walking back home, I caught my reflection in a store window, standing tall, shoulders relaxed, eyes clear. A woman rebuilt from ashes and honesty. A woman who learned the quiet power of boundaries. And for the first time, I whispered to myself, "Freedom looks good on you." Thank you for tuning into the Velvet Revenge channel. Please hit that hype button and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Until next time.